Hey, welcome back to part two. Our BS bike revamp. That's what it looks like, bike on a bench. We got it all taken apart. Everything's laid out nicely, and this is basically what it looks like when your bike's on a bench. So first thing we want to do before we start getting into anything else is you take your frame, okay? We want to inspect all under here, check everything else, see if you can find any cracks in the frame, things like that, or what you're looking for. Any dents that you might want to fill in. This one's got tar all over it from when I ran over some fresh pavement. But yeah, you want to do a thorough frame inspection. Make sure nothing's broke, that you're not going to spend a bunch of money revamping a bike that's actually outlived its usefulness. In this case, everything looks really good. I'll re-inspect it once again once we get the frame sandblasted. We'll go back over it and with a fine-tooth comb, make sure there's no cracks or anything like that. Okay, so let's set that aside. Other things you want to do really is take a good look at your parts. Okay, what are you going to keep? What are you going to throw out? What are you going to replace? In this case, you know, things like bottom bracket bearings are something you're going to want to keep an eye on. In this particular case, they work pretty good. These aren't too bad, but I might change them out anyway just for the sake of doing something fancy. The cranks, these are actually really great cranks. They've served me well. But we might go with some new chain rings, especially the middle and the big ring. The inner ring's looking pretty good. So, you know, you can kind of cut your expenses there. You don't have to spend a ton of money on new crank sets. Let's just bring them back to life. They're going to shift great. We're also going from 9 to 10 speed. We might want to explore that option there. I particularly like thumb shifters. I like them because I like them, not because I'm just an old coot, but I really like them. I kind of grew up with them, and they're the preferred method for me. So those will be easy to do. I can get some Durace 10-speed, pop them on the little Paul thummies, instant 10-speed thumb levers. Chain, that's going to get thrown out. Headset, that's going to get thrown out. We're going to go with some new stuff. My derailleurs, I buy good stuff, or at least I have decent stuff. In this case, I got a little bit older XTR front mirror derailleurs. So those will get cleaned up. Might do some new fresh pulley wheels or something like that. These are looking kind of worn and kind of dirty. Everything's going to go into the cleaning bin. We're going to get it all cleaned up. A little simple green does a good job. We're going to want to take a look at our brakes. That's another good thing. So just turns out that before I started this project, I put new brake pads, rebled everything, so that's done. But that's also something that you're going to want to address is it's time for your new brake pads. Rotors as well. You know, you should look at your rotors. If your pads are worn, or if you've gone through 2 or 3 sets of pads, you might want to look at your rotors. Wheels. Wheels are somewhat of a fetish of mine. I'm a wheel nut. But in this case, I'm going to keep these. These wheels have served me well. They're the Shimano 29er wheels. They have great bearings. If you service them regularly, you're going to get years and years of life out of them. No broken spokes, hardly have to true them at all. They work terrific. I also got some brand new rotors on there. I'm not much of a weight weenie when it comes to this particular bike, so I don't worry too much about that. I like a bike that's going to, you know, stay together. I'm not going to have to work on it a lot, and when I'm out on the trail with my buddies, I'm not the one having to fix my bike. But in terms of weight, this fork, once I took it off, it actually surprised me what it weighed. It only weighed about 2 pounds 8 ounces, okay, which isn't bad for a rigid steel fork. But we've got this other fork in stock, and there's others made, the new Ritchie Full Carbon, which is actually less than half the weight of this fork. So it actually only weighs 1 pound 4 ounces, or actually 1 pound 3 ounces. So that's something I'm toying with. It really comes down to cost benefit too. I like the way this fork rides. It gives a good balanced feel to the OX Platinum steel frame, and so I might not want to mess with that, you know. So that's something we'll address in a future issue. So. But anyhow, this is your bike on a bench. We've torn it down, and the next step is to get this frame off to powder coat, get that going along with that fork. And then we'll start servicing the parts that we're going to keep, throwing the old ones out, and then we're going to look at all the new stuff we're going to put on it. All right? Very cool. Talk to you later.